Applying the principles of Feng Shui to your garden helps you to create an environment you look forward to spending time in. Your garden can make you feel refreshed and rejuvenated, investing in long hours of labor, lots of expensive parts, or hard-to-find artifacts. In this series, we use the term garden loosely to mean just about any patch of land situated near your home. We could be talking about an actual garden, or a front yard, side yard, or backyard, or a combination of any of the above. Whether you're a beginning gardener or a veteran, Feng Shui can complement your urge to create beauty. Don't ever do something you don't like just because it's good Feng Shui. In fact, doing something you don't like is by definition bad Feng Shui. As you discover the principles of Feng Shui and figure out how to apply them to your garden, you use your own personal interests and preferences to create the perfect Feng Shui garden for your home. Feng Shui, which is basically a design philosophy, is simply about placing objects, in this case, plants, lawn furniture, and related items, in an attractive, auspicious, beneficial way. Your goal is to balance the various principles of Feng Shui to create a warm, welcoming space. You don't want any one element, principle, or plant elbowing out all the others. Throughout the book, we show you how to develop this sense of balance. Feng Shui literally means wind and water. Wind and water, the universal forces necessary for life, carry qi, or life energy or life force, throughout the world. Feng Shui harnesses this life energy to enrich your environment, bringing you abundance and balance. See Chapter 3 for more information on qi. Through the auspicious or harmonious placement of design elements, Feng Shui brings blessings and balance into your life. This is the essence of Feng Shui, in fact, its purpose. If your environment harmonizes, then you feel comfortable and welcome there. If your environment is not in harmony, then you may feel uncomfortable and even subtly threatened in an energetic level. You may not consciously think, gee, I'm feeling subtly threatened on an energetic level, but you may feel restless, overwhelmed, or otherwise out of sorts. Environments that make you want to take your toys and go home don't display good Feng Shui. Having such disharmony in your own environment makes it difficult for you to achieve the success in your life that you may hope to achieve. Too much of any element creates disharmony in design, making your environment and you seem out of whack. Fortunately, Feng Shui doesn't throw up its hands in despair. Feng Shui has answers for you, cures, ideas for fixing Feng Shui problems that can be used to correct the shortcomings in your environment. Taoist philosophy, an ancient Chinese way of looking at the universe, believes that simplicity and harmony create long life and good fortune. This philosophy is fundamental to Feng Shui. Many Taoist beliefs are integral to Feng Shui, including the concept of yin/yang, complementary opposites. Taoist philosophy says that the universe is made up of conflicting, yet harmonious, elements. Rather than being just opposites, these elements rely on each other for meaning. For example, night is meaningless without day, dark without light, hard without soft. Balancing these complementary opposites is an important part of Feng Shui. In other words, too much darkness creates a lack of balance, as does too much or too little light. Yin energy is associated with feminine qualities, darkness, rounded shapes, and passive energy. Yang energy is associated with masculine qualities, light, angular shapes, and active energy. Too much yin energy and you're yawning in no time. Too much yang energy and your jangled nerves are screaming for a stay at a rest home. In Feng Shui, balancing yin and yang qualities is essential. You can balance the two by carefully selecting colors, textures, shapes, and lighting. For example, a backyard with no shade, exposed to the full sun all day, has too much yang energy and is an uncomfortable environment. A backyard filled with towering oaks with no sunlight penetrating has the opposite problem, too much yin energy. Again, this creates an uncomfortable environment. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to create a nice balance between yin and yang energy. You want to create a garden that has some areas of shade, some areas of full sunlight, and some areas of transition, where, perhaps, the light is dappled. And you need to consider the yin/yang energy as it presents itself throughout the year. Summer is naturally a more yang time of year and lends itself to the creation of yin space for relief, perhaps by putting up a gazebo or garden tent. Winter is more naturally a yin time of year, and your garden could benefit from some living energy to stir things up. In other words, adopt a dog or add a bird feeder. The fundamental principle of Feng Shui is to keep everything in balance. The earliest approaches to Feng Shui were based on China's numerology and astrology. According to legend, Feng Shui developed nearly 5,000 years ago during the reign of Emperor Fu Shi 2900 BC. In the early stages, Feng Shui was primarily concerned with the best placement for graves, temples, and palaces. Over time, different approaches to Feng Shui developed into distinct styles called schools. At one time, Feng Shui masters who shared the secrets of Feng Shui with people outside the imperial family could be put to death. Phew. Glad those days are gone, or we'd be in trouble. The earliest approaches to Feng Shui were based on China's numerology and astrology. According to legend, Feng Shui developed nearly 5,000 years ago during the reign of Emperor Fu Shi 2900 BC. In the early stages, Feng Shui was primarily concerned with the best placement for graves, temples, and palaces. Over time, different approaches to Feng Shui developed into distinct styles called schools. At one time, Feng Shui masters who shared the secrets of Feng Shui with people outside the imperial family could be put to death. Phew. Glad those days are gone, or we'd be in trouble. Practically speaking, the Black Sect School. Grand Master Professor Thomas Lin Yun brought a form of the Black Sect School to the West from China over 35 years ago. Sometimes called the Form School, the Landform School is one of the oldest schools of Feng Shui that still has followers. Landform Feng Shui masters study the land itself to determine the best, most auspicious locations for buildings. They take into consideration the forces of nature, including strong winds and erosion, note the symbolic shape of the land, and then calculate how the climate of the area combines with those natural features and formations to create a site either stable and auspicious or unstable and inauspicious. They also assess the energy orki they feel in the land. For example, if you live in a mountainous area, place your home with the back to the mountain to lend a feeling of stability. But if you place your house facing the mountain, you may feel a little hemmed in and slightly threatened. Some landform principles are used in Black Hat Feng Shui, such as considering the forces of nature when selecting a site, but other landform principles are considered less important. The Compass School, also an ancient approach to Feng Shui, relies on Chinese astrology to determine auspicious placement. The 8 compass directions are particularly important. Yes, 8 directions, in addition to the 4 we know and love. Compass School includes northeast, northwest, southeast, and southwest. Your personal life directions, also known as your most favorable directions, are calculated using a special formula based on your birth year, and facing this direction is considered auspicious. As you discover more about the principles of Feng Shui, you'll begin to observe them in action all around you. For example, you may notice the balance or lack of balance of yin/yang as you walk into a garden overgrown with trees that let in little light. Try to stay attuned to the principles and elements of Feng Shui in the world around you as you plan how to apply the principles to your own space. As a practical matter, work to develop Feng Shui eyes. In other words, an appreciation for the concepts of Feng Shui design philosophy and the inability to spot Feng Shui elements when you see them and to notice when you don't. We go into further details about the principles and elements of Feng Shui. Use this information to spot Feng Shui, or lack of it, in gardens and nurseries you visit so you get a sense of what you want to do and what you don't want to do. In Feng Shui, Qi, or life energy, needs to move freely through the environment. If it stagnates or gets stuck, the environment may become subtly unpleasant. We give you more information about Qi and how it works, but keep in mind that making sure Qi can move freely through your garden is a key to effective Feng Shui design. In Auspicious, bad placement affects people on an energetic level. That is, you feel it, but the feeling is pretty subtle. You can't always put a finger on what's troubling you about a certain space or environment. What may be troubling you is poor design, according to Feng Shui. You may feel subtly threatened by certain types of plants, outdoor structures, and arrangements. Don't dismiss these feelings. Your intuition is an important part of Feng Shui. If something feels wrong, it is wrong. Try a different plant, a different placement, or a different arrangement. Even better, work to understand your intuition. When you walk into an environment that makes you feel uncomfortable, try to understand why.is it because the garden is cluttered with debris, dead leaves, and overgrown bushes. Is it because huge, out-of-proportion marble statues loom over you while you're trying to enjoy your tea? Being able to identify the source of your discomfort helps you avoid and eliminate Feng Shui mistakes. While different people have different experiences, some people are creeped out by hanging plants while others love them. Awareness of what your intuition is telling you helps you create a garden you love. Working to create a balance helps ensure that others will also find your garden attractive and welcoming. Because your garden consists mainly of living things, Feng Shui in the garden emphasizes the selection and placement of plants of all types, shrubs, flowers, trees, and grasses. In this book, we also show you how to create gardens along a theme. Creating a themed garden requires special attention to the types of plants and other objects in your garden. But unlike a pretty pot, plants don't always stay put, so take that into consideration as you plan. Know the plants that you're choosing. Understand how big they can grow, how aggressive they can be, and how soon they'll be blocking out the sun. Choose native plants for the way they fit perfectly into your garden and for the way they resist disease, drought, and bugs without pesticides, herbicides, or any other side. A garden created according to the principles of Feng Shui is welcoming and friendly. You want to spend time there, and your friends do too. Remember that the garden shouldn't just be picture pretty, it should be a place where you can comfortably spend time. You should be able to stroll along the pathways and take a look at the pansies without fearing you may destroy the garden's perfect symmetry. In other words, don't just plan for looks, plan for use. A cornerstone of Feng Shui is the use of natural materials whenever possible. Natural objects, whether plants, wood benches, mulch, auric, are a treat to the senses. They're more visually appealing. And because they're natural, they fit better into the garden environment. In other words, think twice about purple plastic lawn furniture, no matter how cheap it is.